All right, folks, welcome back. Hope everyone's doing well. I'm doing well, in case you were wondering. Dollar index daily chart. Again, as I mentioned yesterday, we traded up into this bearish order block, rebounced the last portion of this down day here, and back into the bearish order block. I mentioned that we were in a premium from this high to low, back up in here, and the market traded back down. Now, I didn't draw any attention to this, but this is what we're going to refer to tonight. We have a small little buy side imbalance, and we moved back to the consequent encroachment of the midpoint of this buy side imbalance, sell side inefficiency, or fair value gap. Trades down to it there. So keep in mind this is that level here on the daily chart, and the dashed line is the bearish order block. So we're in the lower time frames. Those are your reference points and what they are. Okay, hourly chart. I mentioned yesterday we purged the buy side liquidity above these relative equal highs. That's that bearish order block on the daily chart. And as I mentioned yesterday, that had this happened on today, Thursday, where the economic calendar had the high impact news event for euro and dollar, it would have been real easy to walk right into a bearish breaker. But I said, I don't know ahead of the news because it could punch one more time above it. So you have to be cautious. I mentioned that very thing yesterday. But the very thing that I outlined as a potential setup was exactly what we see here today. So we have the down close candle here prior to the rally up to the bearish order block. The market trades down below it here, then comes back up in, hits the bearish breaker, and sells off to consequent encroachment on the daily chart. That's what that line is here. Okay, remember the buy side imbalance, sell side inefficiency, fair value gap on the daily chart before I dropped into the hourly chart we're looking at now. That lower level line is the consequent encroachment level. And we have a small little imbalance in here. So what am I looking for? Well, I'm thinking that we might sell off again, go for the sell side that's below here, and then work into this area a little bit more. And we'll see what we get in regards to downside objectives there. But I think we've pretty much made the high for the week. And this could potentially be either consolidation into tomorrow's close or at least another run. And this high to that low, project that down. One full range of this high to low as a standard deviation, project that down, and or half of this range projected below this low. That will give you objectives on the downside. Okay, and if we get a breakdown tomorrow, I'll revisit that idea in the weekend commentary. If it disconsolidates, then obviously nothing to look at. All right, so here's the 15-minute time frame on the dollar index. You can see, again, we traded up into that bearish breaker on the hourly chart. One more time as it passes into this rejection block. Runs lower and into the daily fair value gap in the form of a buy side imbalance, sell side inefficiency, consequent encroachment level. Then back up into the hourly fair value gap is where we're at right here. Euro dollar daily chart, as I mentioned, I didn't want to see it trade back down into this, and we didn't get it today, and hopefully we don't get it tomorrow. So we have a small little imbalance right up in here. So we'll see if it wants to get up into that. I'll talk a little bit about euro pound, obviously, as I've been mentioning the last couple of days. But if we get some kind of correction or allowance for euro to rally, this is where I would like to see it trade to. Okay, here's euro dollar hourly chart, and you can see it's just a mess. Yesterday's low didn't even pierce that, just a lot of back and forth consolidation. And that is to allow the euro pound to have its low resistance liquidity run I outlined yesterday. So it delivered in spades, but we're going to look at this here as a potential setup where it can return back up into this area up here, run some buy side. I know this kind of resembles a market maker sell model, but I'd like to see it trade against it now. Okay, remember I'm teaching the market maker buy models and sell models. This sell model doesn't need to come back down and clear this consolidation or the original consolidation down here. It doesn't need to do that. It could have a sell-off, correction, and then resume going higher. I'm thinking that's based on what I'm seeing on the dollar. And we could see it trade back up into these highs here. And that might be a Friday objective for upside delivery on euro dollar. Or we stay consolidation. All right, so here's the 15-minute time frame on euro dollar. We had sell side below here, and we had a buy side liquidity pool here. It ran up into that and then come all the way back down in to take the sell side out, but kept yesterday's low intact. Notice that? So it came all the way back up just to get back into this high. But I thought for sure at the time it was rallying here that we would sweep this here, and then it would just simply be a seek and destroy day, where it's just back and forth, taking the highs and the lows out and going nowhere. Okay, so this is one of those days where unless you are an ultra short-term day trader, 5-minute, 1-minute chart basis, it's difficult to find profitability in this type of move. And that's why it's important, and that's why I teach very low time frame tradings, because you are left without excuse. There's always an opportunity somewhere to find 10 pips, 15 pips, 20 pips, something like that. So, but we didn't get really much to work with here. And again, it is attributed to the euro pound analysis I gave yesterday. All right, British pound, US dollar, daily chart. I mentioned we traded down into, I wasn't initially, as I did the videos earlier in the week, I said I wasn't really interested in seeing this as a bullish order block. But after it traded down into the mean threshold yesterday, I said that we could potentially see it trade higher. To what level on the daily chart, I didn't have a definitive range or target until we got down to the lower time frames. Let's go down to the hourly chart. Okay, and we were trading in this area here after sweeping the sell side liquidity pool here. Came off of that. I didn't have a lot of conviction about where it would go initially until we went above this fair value gap. Okay, so this fair value gap here, go back and listen to the recording. If we go above that, that could act as support to send us up into this area here, because this is a low resistance liquidity run signature there. And you can see, obviously, that's what happened. Okay, so beautiful delivery there. Looking for a setup. Why would it form this? Well, because I was calling euro pound lower yesterday. Okay, I said it was set up for a euro pound low resistance liquidity run signature for the lows on its hourly chart. And we'll look at that in a couple minutes. But again, go back into your recordings and the notes you should have taken yesterday. The only thing I saw for pound, dollar, or cable yesterday was it needed to rally up and then find some support. Look at the bodies of the candles here. That is perfect. Perfect on this low. Perfect. It trades above it, picks up support here, then runs for the buy side liquidity there. That's exactly what I said I would look for. Only, that would be the only interest I had to see a upside run into this area here. Now, what led to that? Well, I'm forecasting if it runs above this area here, then it's going to be the latter stages of a market maker buy model. Consolidation, we leave the consolidation, distribution, smart money reversal, low risk buy. But I don't know in all of this area here where the next level of accumulation would be. But I can find an easy one with the imbalance here. Because if we trade through it like we did here, notice this one single candle comes down, creates the imbalance. Then we have this one candle delivering on the upside. This becomes a balanced price range. That's why I said if it goes above it, comes back down in, I could trust that as a point of buying or reaccumulation, and then rise up and takes this out. Find that and like off. It's not there, kids. All right, so we're looking at the 15-minute time frame on the British pound versus US dollar. And again, you can see how we traded very handsomely up into. This is that return back into that 138.10 level. And then watch the displacement here. Ready? Sends it higher, creates a small buy side imbalance, sell side inefficiency, trades back down into it, order block. There's your New York session buy, optimal trade entry, reaching up into the old hourly buy side liquidity pool right there. And again, you can go back and look at the levels. There, it sweeps it, and look at the bodies of the candles matching up with the high. Just beautiful. And there's that run into that buy side liquidity pool on the 15-minute time frame. Finally, moving on into Euro Pound, and it dipped into its breaker a little bit more. There's an imbalance here, and we traded down into that. It was also with the hourly low resistance liquidity run signatures we had here, and then we also have it on the daily chart as well with an imbalance. So it delivers that like gangbusters here. So just be mindful that these levels are respective to these highs and lows on the Euro Pound daily chart. And that's what we got on the hourly chart here. We're trading in here. Yesterday I said that, we have a low resistance liquidity run signature right in here for these lows, and over here on the daily chart as well. The market creates a return back into a bearish order block there, and then just cascades aggressively. This is the signature. This is what you're looking for with a low resistance liquidity run. Those were my terms. Those were my descriptive words in regards to what you would see in this pair. Now, if this pair goes down, or we're expecting a low resistance liquidity run to the downside on Euro Pound, how does that from an algorithmic stance relate to Euro Dollar and Pound Dollar? Well, Euro Dollar can be held in consolidation or decline. We really weren't looking for Euro Dollar to go down, were we? Remember, I was saying I don't want to see the breaker be traded to on Euro Dollar. Looking at this, we see Euro Pound cascading lower, and I outlined what I would see, or what it would take for me to be bullish and take a buy in cable Pound Dollar. It would need to trade back up above its hourly imbalance, find some support, and then run its old hourly buy side liquidity pool. So the devil's in the details. Yesterday, Euro Pound was called lower. I said I didn't want to see Euro Dollar going down, and Dollar I felt wasn't going to go higher. So directionally, Dollar was weaker. I was looking for a potential bearish breaker on the dollar index after running its bearish order block on the daily chart. So that tapestry comes together with Euro Pound going down, Euro Dollar not going higher, not going lower, being held in consolidation. The trade was cable going higher. What was the objective ultimately? Until we got into the hourly chart, I couldn't give you an objective. But the hourly chart, I gave you the narrative that the algorithm would use. It would run above that imbalance, find support, and then run to its hourly buy side liquidity pool. Because Euro Pound was bearish, it had a low resistance liquidity run signature. So go back to the name of this pair. Euro Pound, I called a low resistance liquidity run signature. That means it's going to have very little resistance, low resistance. It's going to be a fast run in little obstructions to get to where it needs to go. The daily imbalance is down here. The initial liquidity is here below these lows and then over here. But below that, how far can it go? Well, we have this level here as the discount low on the daily buy side imbalance, sell side efficiency. So low resistance liquidity run signature, directional is down, and the magnitude is clean run lower, very little resistance, low resistance. Go back to the pair's name. That means Euro is going to be held in consolidation, or Euro is going to cascade hard lower. Was that in the analysis yesterday? No. But what were we expecting? The potential for Euro Dollar to see manipulation but not go lower. Maybe go higher, but not go lower. Cable, I did call to the upside if we had the signature on the hourly chart. So between the two, with dollar being called lower, we have this pair being used correctly, unlike what you heard on the YouTube presentation that Astro Effects and people like them that have no idea how the crosses are worked, how they're used, how they're implemented in working all the other pairs. Like you can't make this stuff up. Okay, I'm not going back in to the videos that you downloaded yesterday. Okay, I'm not changing what I said. You hear me say these things, and this is what you get. That's understanding. That is mastery. That's what you're looking for. The very things that you see in your chart today were the things I would require for price to do before it does what we see here after the fact. So it's not hindsight. It's not finding something to talk about that looks good. Again, like I said yesterday, I'm not saying things and just pulling things out of randomness and throwing mud at the wall and see what sticks and say, look how smart I am. Listen to the details I give. Now, I'm not patting myself on the back because I did not engage, I did not do anything because of the level of risk. Now, some of you, and I just got an email that I did not reply to because it was before I did yesterday's video. And to be quite honest with you, I'm not certain if the person is actually in the mentorship or if it's just someone that's familiar with the stuff I've taught already in public. But the emailer was sending a message to this effect, like, I need to take trades now. How can I not take trades? But everything I'm doing pretty much isn't working, and I'm getting impatient. I need to trade. No, you don't need to trade. And this is the reason why I talked the way I did yesterday. I didn't see the email until this morning, but the email was sent before I did the video. So if it's a member in here, you got basically sorted yesterday with my commentary. If that didn't sort you, then you have to overcome that in yourself. And anyone else that's still struggling with, I got to trade, I got to make money right now. No, you don't. Actually, you don't. Okay, there's plenty of jobs out there to get. There's plenty of other things you could be doing to earn the money that you need to make ends meet. But you need to learn this skill. And the skill is understanding how to weigh risk, understand it, respect it, and then being able to navigate through this. The neophytes or the low experienced traders that just came in the 2021 group, they're going to struggle. And I'm going to say this in closing. Just know that, while we're looking at these very difficult markets, and they are difficult. I'm not trying to make this seem like it's easy. So don't read into what I'm saying here tonight saying, look how smart I was from yesterday's discussion. I'm not stating that. I'm not saying that at all. But what I'm saying is the things that I look for are still presenting themselves. The fact that the level of risk is so elevated, as a mentor, as your teacher, instructor, all of you are heavily influenced by what I do, what I say, and what I share. So if I share something in here and I do exceedingly well in this environment, you won't have any weight placed on the times like this when I'm saying you need to be cautious. You'll think, well, ICT was trading through this, so I'm going to do like my teacher. When I'm trying to teach you to respect the level of risk that's in the marketplace right now. Okay, so I understand that feels like it flies right in the face of why you're even doing all this. But I promise you, if you stay in this business long enough, you will thank me endlessly. Okay, 5 and 10 years from now, you'll look back and say, that was such an important pivotal point in my understanding, because this is where everybody blows it, myself included. This is what I was trying to press upon you yesterday in the commentary, is that if you don't learn this early on and give yourself the permission to sit still, even when you think it's going to move, still, sit still. Learn the experience without the potential for pain. You're gaining experience. You're not getting money deposited in your account at the moment. I understand that, and that's what you want. That comes as a default of learning this. You have to learn this. If you don't learn this patience factor, you are never going to make it here. Not here in this mentorship. You're not going to make it in this industry. not in Forex, not in futures, not in crypto, not in commodities, not in bonds, not in stocks. You won't make it because you're going to self-destruct. You won't have any discipline. You're just going to go in there impulsively and say, well, I have time to trade, or I need to trade. This is the reason why I teach that you have to have 2 years salary. 2 years salary that you usually work off of to make your ends meet. Then a sizable income can be gleaned from trading because you're not impulsive about, I have to make money. And it takes time. You all think I'm going to start an account up tomorrow because I learned one pattern. And it doesn't work like that, folks. There's so many things you're going to do to self-destruct. And if you don't listen to me in these portions of the mentorship, I swear to God, you are going to fail. You're going to fail because all the magic and sorcery of understanding all these, deeper understandings of price delivery, that will not save you because you will do something when you shouldn't be doing anything. And that will start the loser cycle. You'll regret doing it. My voice will echo in your memory and say, oh, he said not to do it and I didn't listen. Let me hurry up and go in there and try to erase it and fix it. And then you compound the problem with more losses. And then it feeds on itself and you panic and you do more and more and more and you blow the account. And then you have created such a mountain of toxic thinking and thoughts and regret, and paralysis enters. And I can't fix that. The only thing I can tell you is how to avoid it. Because once you get that in your head, you have to figure that all in yourself, how to get over that. And let me tell you, years and years of teaching, every student that gets into that quagmire, it's so toxic. The level of students that come out of that once they get there is so low. And they're generally the ones that get toxic about me on social media, or they go on to forums and they talk all this nonsense. When the obvious is, I know what I'm talking about. I know how to teach it. I know how to trade it. But they themselves fail and they have to project that pain on me. When if they just listen, like I'm asking you to listen, you have to submit. And it's not weakness, it's submitting. That you don't need to do something every single day. And you don't need to know the answers every single day. That doesn't make me ICT. ICT, the trader, is me with limitations and parameters and processes and protocols and limitations with discipline. That's what makes me ICT. I know how to go in and cherry pick. I know what's going to create the problem where it's going to smack me in the face and I'm going to fail. That's the thing, okay, that's the secret recipe that makes me who I am. I know where I will fail. So I tread very lightly in these environments. And the only reason why you know about what I'm calling like this today and what I mentioned last night is I'm obligated to give you my opinion. When we sit down and talk over the charts every time we meet, and right now, because you get a video every single day, or very close to it, unless something like when I got hurt, you're getting way more than you paid for. Way more. But I'm proving to you that even though you should not be engaging at the moment, the things that you're learning are still in the marketplace and they're still respecting as they would if it was algorithmic. It's not random. It's not buying and selling pressure. It's not supply and demand factors. It's absolute AI. It's artificial intelligence. That's algorithmic. That is pre-programmed. There is logic behind it. And I'm doing the best I can to convey what they use without getting into exactly what they do, if that makes sense. In other words, I'm taking you as close as I can to seeing how they do it. And in fact, I'm actually simplifying it. And some of you may look at what I teach and think, man, this is like difficult. This is very difficult to grasp. And for someone that's new, it's very difficult to grasp. But for someone that has been trading for a while and hasn't found consistency, or it just feels like it's completely random, nobody can find any consistency, this feels like voodoo. Like, this feels like I have the answer code or the cheat sheet to yesterday and next week's markets, because you felt that pain and that sense of confusion because you've experienced it. If you saw how these algorithms are designed, that is extremely complicated. It is extremely complicated. The coding and the variables that you have to employ to get this code to do what it does is so unbelievably complicated. So, for my own sanity, to look for just the opportunities that I would need to satisfy myself, because the algorithm does a lot more than I teach, and the algorithm does a lot more than I know. So what do I mean by that? I don't know every symbol and characteristic and subtle nuance that every market will use, because I didn't spend that much time in it. Once I saw what was going to be the end result, if I stayed in that, I got out. I stayed away from all that. I stopped chasing that and said, I have enough. And I don't need to go any deeper than this. Now, I don't regret that. I don't regret that decision at all. I'm thankful that I got in and got out. But I don't think I could sit down and try to teach. Well, actually, I know I couldn't sit down and teach anyone the level of coding that's required to make these algorithms deliver price like it does. So the riddle and the puzzle for me was, how do I translate what I discovered into a language that my children could understand and not have to press them into understanding any coding at all. So this is the result. This is the language I created, so that way my children could understand these conditions, which the algorithm has a lot more opportunities for it to do certain things. And I'm aware of what they are, but I am not going to teach them, because those things I can't create a language for. I tried, and I can't. So for the sake of my children's ability to learn how to do this, and then obviously now you all, I kept it simple. And you might look at this and say, this is not simple. But it is. It really is simple. It's simplistic compared to the highest form, which is very, very, very close to what I use for Enigma. Now, Enigma is a lot of things that won't be easily understood because it's not in a chart. Okay, it's not in time. It's not in high and lows. It's a process, and how the process is implemented in the markets. So that's the part that never gets taught. That's the part that is simply logic that my children, they have it, but they don't know what to do with it. And some of you have met my son, Caleb, and he's one of the moderators that I use for the chat room in my Telegram channel. I haven't been in there for a while, but the few times that I do open it up and I'm talking to whoever wants to comment to me, if someone tries to advertise another room or a channel, Caleb's the one that bans them. He deletes their comment and bans them. He was very open with everyone, and the folks that know his handle on Telegram still reach out to him. They say, look, how is it that you don't want to learn how to do this? Your dad knows how to do this so well. I wish I could be in your position. And I don't know why they don't want to do it. Maybe it's because they feel like it's too hard too. Or maybe it's because they see what I have and they just hope it will just be an inheritance. And I've already told them that won't be happening. So I'm doing everything I can to make it uncomfortable for them. And I think what they're trying to do is wait me out to see if I'm really going to be that kind of dad where I don't just set them up for life. They have trusts, but they can't touch them. It's under a stipulation. They have to learn how to do this. And my oldest son is a little bit, has animosity about that. And that's okay. He'll either get over it or, he won't. But the point is, I had this problem of trying to take something that's extremely complicated and so many variables and so many calculations and reference points that the algorithm will use, and stripping all that and say, okay, how can I just find a few dozen setups where I know what the parameters would be for them to form. I know how they would look in charts, so that way there would be a pattern that is associated for repetition, and understanding what it would look like in that present environment and price. So it was challenging for me to do this. It wasn't like an overnight thing. And I'm thanking the Lord for showing me and revealing to me where it is that I should have had my attention in helping me in that regard. So that's what this all was a result of. All these things that you're learning is a result of that. So it was a lot of circumstance. It was a lot of being the right person at the right time, extremely blessed by God, and a unbelievable sense of tenacity and obsessive compulsive disorder. I mean, that's really what it was. So knowing what you're learning here, you only need to learn one thing here, one approach to engaging the marketplace. It could be the breaker. It could be a mitigation block. It could be the order block. It could be the fair value gap. It could be the optimal trade entry. It could be balanced price range. It could be the institutional order flow entry drill. It could be the vacuum block. It could be rejection block. There's whatever draws your attention to the chart that you see. It's the repeating one that always repeats, always easily to find, easy to see. It's just, that's the one thing for you. The problem I have with my students is they want to be like me right from the beginning. And when you join college, which I mentioned yesterday was a waste of everybody's time and money, that I'm sure has probably caused people to send me emails, because I haven't been obviously keeping up with email. But if you did send me an email in response to yesterday's comments, please just know that I won't be replying to that. I'm standing fast on what I said yesterday, and I've not said it for the first time yesterday. I said it many times in the past. But when you join college, they don't give you the diploma the day you join. And you don't have the experience to go out and do the things that you enrolled in college for the day you enrolled. But isn't it strange that when you join the mentorship here, or if you join another person's course or whatever, the expectation of the student is you are being paid. So Eric, I need to know what it is I want to know, when you don't know what you're supposed to know. But you come in here with this preconceived notion that you know what you should learn when you have no idea. So there's a lot of those types of students, I'm saying that with quotations in the air, they come to me like that, and they have this unrealistic expectation and or sense of entitlement. Like, I paid you, Michael, so I need to learn this exactly when I want to learn it, and by the timeline I'm establishing for myself. And those are the people I want to quit, because I can't work with people like that, because I'm never going to make them a profitable student, because they're not ready to learn. They have all the answers. They have a playbook in mind. They think they're going to come in and cherry pick certain things, and they're going to have their ears plugged in lessons like this one and yesterday. They're the ones that will send me an email and say, you talk too much about this and that, or it's too much psychology. You're going to fail. And folks that have sent that to me in the past, I've told them, you're going to fail. And it's not me wishing ill on them. It's not me saying that they suck as a trader. I'm saying that your mindset is guaranteeing that you're going to fail, because everything about price I can teach these people. But the things like I've taught about last night and what I'm teaching today, that's going to be their undoing. And they're going to think it was this failing. There is no algorithm. ICT is a fraud. That's the mindset they adopt, because they can't accept the fact that they're the screw up. Not the model, not the method, not the mentor. They themselves, like every failed trader is. It's the person they see in the mirror, and they can't tolerate that. And I've found it's mostly foreign individuals that are not American. We're pompous. We're arrogant. We think everything revolves around us. And sometimes I've had that attitude, and I had it obviously in the past on YouTube. But you knew that about me, and you found yourself here. Why? Because I know what I'm talking about. The folks that come in here with this entitlement mindset, it's saddening to me, because I know my limitations as a human. I know my limitations as a teacher. I know my limitations as a trader. I'm not going to be able to bridge this chasm that's created by these types of students. And they are the ones that quit. Or they find someone that is leaking content and they think they can get it cheaper, and then I bust those, and they try to come back in and give me all the sad stories. Yeah, I lost my job, or COVID, caused me to lose my job, and I couldn't make the payments, and now I want to come back. You didn't even email me. You didn't set us up with, hey, look, I got sacked. If I get a job, it's months later they try to come back. And I know how that works. That's the reason why I don't let people come back in after they miss that first of the month of the following month, because I know that's what goes on here. People are in here, they're trying to make money selling my stuff, and I know they leave to try to get it on the cheaper dime. And I don't let them come back when I bust the people that they've been leaking. That's why I do what I do. And that's why I don't have any forgiveness. I don't want to hear your story. I don't want to hear the sob story about why you couldn't keep up your payments. These are the terms. And just like in trading, I keep the emotion out of it. And that may sound harsh, but that's just the way it is. Because look around, everything is being ripped off. And they're harming other people because of what they're saying. They have no idea why they're saying what I have said, and they're echoing me. There's logic behind things that I've taught that they don't know, and I haven't even touched on yet. And let me say this right now, because I got a lot of emails about folks that just became charter members, and the charter members that have been charter members for a while. This year we were starting the algorithmic principles on all the 12 price action models. So in your notes, write this down so that way you don't feel the itch to send me an email too. Once everybody in the 2021 group becomes a charter member, then I will resume with the algorithmic principles, because I threw out a lot of people in the early part of this year that as soon as I was putting the videos out with the algorithmic principles, they were sharing that with people for $10 a video, $10 a month, and you get the updates. And these people have been removed. Okay, so once I have everybody in charter member, your groups are going to be in tens. So each group will have 10 members in it. And because these videos are so easy for me to do so far in the future, and that's what I'm doing right now, I'm creating multiple copies of groups of 10. So once I see one leaked video, I know that that leak is in a group of 10 people. And it's going to be real easy to bag you. And believe me, you think that, and there's a couple of them in here that have promised other people on Telegram, yeah, once I'm done doing this round of mentorship, they're going to leak everything. Go ahead and leak it. Go ahead and leak it, because you're gone. I'm not done teaching at the end of this year. This is a community that's a lifetime. Like, there's so much stuff for me to still teach on. But you're going to learn everything that you need to do to make money, to start your own trading business, start your own signal service, to do your own management of funds. You can do whatever you want to do once you learn everything. Or you can just be an independent trader. But these clowns that are in here, they're just collecting information. They can't wait to deliver it. You're wasting your time. You're literally wasting your time and your money, because none of this stuff completes your understanding just because I get to 2022. you have all of the teachings, but now I'll spend time with everyone in the forum. I won't be doing that many videos because I'm promising you only one video per week after we get through this 2021 group. I'm taking the month of March off of next year. And then when April comes, 1st of April, whatever the first trading day is of April, then I'll be just doing the one weekly commentary video. But I'll be engaging on the forum in posts. I'll be communicating with you all. Because if I spend all this time doing videos and in creating copies and versions and watermarks, it's time consuming. And it's much more intimate on a forum level, where some of you obviously like these kind of videos where I'm talking to you and you feel like I'm just talking to you. And that's cool, I get it. But I miss the interaction like when I was on Baby Pips, where I could go on, do a post. It's so easy to do. It's like sending a text and it's done. Everybody gets the benefit of it, and you get an answer right to your inquiry or your idea. Or if I like what you've been doing on the forum, I can comment on that. That's what I want to do. That's where I want to be in 2022 going forward, and not having you feel dependent on videos. Listen, folks, when you get a charter and you have everything downloaded, which you should be downloading everything to your own computer and keeping it on a flash drive. I had a lot of people ask also, when downloading the videos, how much time do you have to download them? I'm hoping that every time you get your monthly content, you are right-clicking on the video and saving link as, and that saves to your hard drive. And you're doing it by each month as an individual directory or folder in your computer. And then once you have them downloaded, then watch them from your computer. That way you're not streaming from the website. Not that that's a problem, but you have it. Like, you have the copy of it. Okay? So you should be doing it. It does not take long. I had people complain to me in email, say, I don't have time to be doing all this. Well, you actually do. And I thought about doing a video where I show myself literally downloading an entire month's content. And it's not hard at all. It doesn't take much time at all. There's only 12 months content. And it's 8 lessons generally until you get to like month 5, and then or there's the commodity months and short-term trading with I think it's month 10 or 11. I can't recall off the top of my head. But there isn't a lot of videos. Okay, the commentaries, when I put up a video like this one here, every single time you get to a new daily video or weekend commentary or midweek video, you should download it, then watch it from your computer, because that way you're accumulating your library and you're sorting it and keeping it. And then here's what you should be getting yourself. You should be getting a solid state external hard drive. Okay, and it's like it's about the size of some of you may not know what this is, but it's about the size of a pager, an old beeper. Like, it's not big at all. It's kind of thin. In fact, I'll probably share a picture of it on a post in the forum, so that way you can go out and get the right thing. If you get one that's 1 terabyte, or they have them like 2 terabytes now, that it's not expensive. I think it's a couple $100, but it's a way that you can store all the videos and secure them very nicely, and that way you have a backup version of that. And I would keep it there, and then get yourself a couple flash drives and make copies of it on there, and just put them away. That way you have them. And every year, get a new flash drive that has, a good size of information storage on it, and then copy it to a new one, because technology has a way of diminishing over time. Like, I have old movies on DVD and Blu-ray, and over time they just fail. They don't work anymore. They stop playing. And it's not the player that I'm using, it's the actual medium. It fails. So that way you're downloading all this information, because while you have lifetime access to me, you don't have access lifetime to me keeping this on a server. And that's the reason why I'm telling you that you should be actively downloading them, because my objective is, I'm not paying this kind of money for this server for you all to have access to videos that you should have been downloading all this time. So I'm hoping that we get to March and April of next year, you all have everything downloaded. And then every time I put a new video up, you're just downloading as I go. And that way I'm not having to have a huge server. I can operate with a very, very small server, and all of you can just download the video that's put up. And then once it's up there for like a month, then I take that down on the server and then start another month. So that I'm only storing, if you will, a rolling 30 days worth of videos, or 1 month's worth of videos. In that case, it'd be like 4 videos. And that's why I want to manage, because it's a lot to manage all this stuff. It's a lot to manage all the user groups. And that way, once you have it all downloaded, you purchased it, you have it, and you can pass it on to your children. Okay. That was the allowance I gave for all of you. You can absolutely let your children, okay, learn this stuff and give it to them physically. Say, here, this is my gift to you. And then you make sure that everyone in your family tree has this knowledge. It is not meant for you as selling it. Okay. So I want you to understand what I'm about to say. Okay. Because if you don't listen to this carefully, it's going to get you mad. It's going to offend you. Okay. But here's what I want you to know. If in 2022, I see people going out there and just, I don't care how bad COVID or the world gets. If I see my content go all over the place, like I've seen in the recent, 8 months to 12 months, I will literally open this up and make it free. And I will take every opportunity away from any of you trying to sell it. And I'm going to say that again. You are paying for this. You're paying money for this, to be here, to be part of this community. I have the right. I have the right to make this more expensive. I have the right to make it free. I'm the author. I'm the creator of it. I am the owner of this content. If you think for a second that I won't take every single one of these videos and make them open source and turn this forum into open source, where you don't need to have a password or username to come in here, test me and you will see that you've wasted your money. Because I will not allow that to go on. And I don't need to do this. I didn't need to do this mentorship in the beginning. I didn't need to be on YouTube putting out videos. I didn't need to do any of those things. But there's a lot of low class individuals that's come across my content that are in here still. A lot of them got thrown out. But I know there's some in here still. But I promise you, why would they buy your Mickey Mouse handouts when I open the doors and it's for free? Think I won't do it? Test me. Because that is exactly what I intend to do if you guys start doing that kind of stuff. And guess what? It doesn't hurt me, because I can go out there and make millions of dollars, and I don't need to sell anything. I don't need to make a video ever again, not on YouTube, not in this mentorship. I could stop this at any time I want. And you folks that have this idea that you're going to do that, I'm telling you, that's what makes me stop. That's what closes this mentorship down. That's the reason why I tell you to download your stuff. Because I'm a human being and I'm a man. And every single one of you have access to me. You have access to me. You have a mentor for life. As long as you don't do the things I'm talking about right now, you have a mentor for life. If you have problems about sorting out all the information, while you're going through the content, you should not be asking me anything. Okay, because you have enough to study. And the answers come by going into the next lessons, and they answer themselves. About 95% of it. But when you get into the charter level, you'll be able to talk amongst everyone else in the forum, and you'll either get the information that you're seeking through another member, they'll tell you, oh yeah, that's addressed in this video. We have some really good organized students here, better than I am in terms of knowing where certain things I've said are located. But if you are going to be that kind of guy, I'm telling you how I'm going to trump you, because I'm not doing another mentorship. So do the math on this. I have the ultimate cancellation of you making money selling my stuff. I'll make it free. And I want you to understand that. And I know some of you in here are like, oh, that's not fair. That's not fair. No. That is how it will be if my content starts going all over the place. And that's the answer to it. Nobody would pay for you to give them my videos if I make it free. So now, I want you to think about that, because what consequence is there for me? None. In fact, you'll make me a hero. You'll be a martyr to make me even more loved. And I don't want to do this. I don't want to do it. But I'm telling you, I will absolutely do it. And I'm sure it'll offend some people in here. But what other recourse would I have? I'm not going to let people sit around here and sell my stuff and prostitute it. I'm not going to do it. Will not do it. There's folks that I've thrown out, and they've created Telegram channels, and they're posting their content up to May of 2021. But they don't have any more content because they're gone. And they told me they were going to do it, and that's fine. But they have no idea what to do with what they have. And the only thing they're trying to do is dig in and twist the knife. And it doesn't hurt me, because I have so much more than they ever will even see. So this world is obviously turned upside down. And it's caused people to do things irrationally, do things that, hey, ICT is a nice guy, but, I need to make money and whatever. I got to do what I got to do. Right. And I'll do what I got to do, which is real easy. It's 2 toggles on this forum, and nobody needs to log into anything. Come on in, and I'll turn the directory privacy off on all of the directories. And there won't be anybody sending you money in PayPal. It'll be free. And then how you feel. You paid me so you can buy something to turn around and sell it. And I've taken your money away by doing something like that. And you'll make me a hero. But you'll be a martyr. Making no more money. So there you go. I want you to know that I know there's people in here that are promising people in Telegram and in Discord, because I told you I'm in those rooms. I'm there. And I am not against doing that as an ultimate ending. So think, why would you want to squander this? You have me in a manner where I can sit with you, I can discuss what's going to happen, what I think my expectations will be for the week to come. That's the videos I'm going to be doing in 2022. So it's kind of like a helper. So if you want to do like signal services and such, you'll at least know what I think the market might be doing. So if you learn how to execute and trade well, you know what I'm expecting. I'm not going to walk you through the trade setups and put you in the trades, but it'll give you that little bump of confidence until you can feel like you can do it on your own. You can make lots of money doing that. And I have no problem with that. But selling my videos or reteaching my stuff, yeah, that's going to be the way this ends. And again, I will have already been paid everything that I seek in payment. So I'm not losing anything by doing it. It'll basically be me responding to you in the ultimate manner, where I remove the ability for you to sell my stuff. Because it's not right for you to sell it. It's not yours. You don't own it. You purchased streaming access, and that's it. You don't have the copyright to it. You don't have the authorship. None of that. But you do have access to me. And it should be respected. I would never, ever mess up something like this. If I had the opportunity to be amongst what you are in now, right now, I wouldn't even talk about it. It would be the closest guarded secret that I would have in regards to what I'm doing with my personal time. And other people knowing what I'm doing or how I'm making money, they wouldn't know. They wouldn't know anything about it. I don't want more people here. Okay, I don't want that. There are talks about my children because I'm giving them the rights to this in 2022. This being the mentorship. I am not running another mentorship. I am not inviting other people in. I'm not doing another class. I'm not doing any of that. They have had an interest in making it available to people that don't have access like you have here. Like they won't be a part of the community. Like they want to sell it like a package where you buy into it and you get the lessons, but you don't get any updates, like any ongoing videos, no mentorship, no here's what's going to happen, this is the problem we're experiencing in the marketplace right now. Like the real mentorship, because the videos, the lessons themselves, they're not enough. They're not enough. They feel like they're enough when you're watching them, but they're not enough. You need to be trained. You need to be taught how to use them, how to implement them, when not to touch them. What certain parts about the lessons in here should you not be concerned about at the moment? Like I mentioned briefly in recent videos about commitment traders, everybody's banging on about, you don't talk about COT because the markets aren't trending. I lean on COT for trending markets, and I want to know when their hedging program kicks in, and I want to know what their highest probability of buying in a bullish market is with the commercials, or selling short when it's bearish. So because we're not in a trending market, that's why I'm not interested in looking at COT. It's a tool that is only useful in my mind when we are in trending modes, and it's not a trending market right now. So you could see a elevated net long position in commercials on a market while we're in a range, and it doesn't mean anything. It won't relate to anything in terms of prognostication. It means that they're just doing what they have to do right now because they have to run a business, and the markets are being held in a stagnation right now. It's not moving. So that's what I'm referring to when I say mentorship, like last night's lesson and this one here. This is mentorship. This is what it is to be under the wing of someone that knows what they're talking about. And I enjoy this. I love doing it. But I know there are some in here that joined in 2021 that have it in their mind that, because I said this is my last mentorship, they think, okay, well, when he says he's done, I'm going to leak it, I'm going to sell it, I'm going to repackage it, whatever. As soon as I see that, this forum is no longer private. Period. So think. Why would you want to jeopardize that? That gives me an easy way out of this, and I don't have to be bothered by none of it anymore. But we'll have the most amazing time together and as a community, because it's like a private club that no one else can be a part of. And you should protect that, because in here, I say things that I wouldn't say anywhere else. And there's conversations I want to have in time that you, as my student base, I want to feel that I can trust you with it. And up until now, I can't. I can't trust you. Okay? It's too many things have been talked about, leaked, shared, sold. It's just, I don't have the comfort level to do it. And I think that's understandable, given the amount of leaking and selling and repackaging that's been going on. But there's certain things that I want to teach on that I don't want the general public to know about. And that might sound selfish. It might sound, well, selfish. That would be the word they would use. Oh, he's selfish. No, you're not entitled to it. In fact, you aren't entitled to it either, just because you paid me. These are things that I never imagined ever wanting to discuss. But, tomorrow's never promised to anyone. And the things I've seen, discovered, learned, and experienced, I would like other people to know about them in case something ever happened and I wasn't here anymore. I would like for those types of things to be known. Doesn't benefit me if I wasn't here afterwards. It's just something I would like to get off my chest. And that's the kind of community I want to create here. I want to be able to say what I want to say. And not that I want everyone hanging on every word that I say. That's not what I'm referring to here. What I'm saying is I want a community that, number one, we respect one another, but I also am respected as well, because I've had people in here that felt they could say whatever they wanted to say because they paid, and they found that didn't work like that, and they were thrown out. So I don't want to be an ogre. I don't want to be a troll in my own community, but I've told you tonight what my response would be. And I think you should pay attention to that. So going forward, we have a wonderful opportunity to be a close-knit community. It's a huge community, but to have the ability to work with so many individuals. And some of you are really intelligent, like you're smart. And the things that you've done with what little you've been given so far is encouraging as a mentor. And some of you are just really, really sharp. And I can't wait for you to be a part of the forum in your user group, because that community, when they get to experience the things that you're sending me, that you're discovering on your own, the things that you're finding out about yourself as a trader, that's inspiring. I would love to see that. That's things that you don't even see like on a Baby Pips or a Forex Factory forum, because they're looking at retail logic, or they're looking at something that doesn't even make any sense. And here you're learning statistically proven things that are measurable, and you're all doing your own thing with it. And I love that. It shows the lengths of uniqueness that you can have as a trader, learning all of these concepts and then applying it in a way that makes sense for you as the trader. The parameters that you establish that you only will engage in when these things are met. And I think that's one of the benefits of this community. You'll be able to see things from another trader's perspective that's been under my wing and how they're finding success. That might be the very thing that nudges you into your unique model. They may be doing something that you probably saw a couple times. You felt like, yes, there's something there, I just can't figure it out. But then they share what they're doing, and then boom, that was the little thing that was holding you back. Then you would have figured out for yourself what you are best suited to use in your trading. And it would be unique to you as well. And that way, yes, I'm your mentor, I'm your teacher, but I didn't give you your very specific model. So that part is your own incorporated approach to it. You're bringing your own personality to it. And that's what feels great about it. Yes, I'm your trainer, I'm your teacher, I'm your mentor. But I can't force you into a mold. And that's why I tell you, once you figure out what you're doing, you don't share your credit with me. You give me respect, and I appreciate that. But you don't absolutely say, everything's attributed to you. That's not true. That's never what I want from any of you. I don't want that testimony. That testimony is a lie. Because each of you will be bringing your own personality to your own model. I don't have a student that does everything I've shared as a particular model verbatim, and that's all they do, and they make money. Think about what I just said now. The 12 unique price action models that I provided thus far as a charter member, I do not have one student that has taken it by verbatim as the model is explained, and nothing more or nothing less, and they're profitable. They have taken something out of it and put something else in that makes it unique for them that they learn in the mentorship, or they blended a model with another model And that's what they're using. So that's what I meant when I said that as a charter member, you get access to 12 unique price action models. You're not expected to or encouraged to learn all 12 of them and master them all. Okay. They all complement each other, because if you used all 12 of them or understand how all 12 of them are used, not that you need to trade every single one of them, you would have a understanding of the marketplace that is universal. You won't have any limitations. You'll be able to operate in any environment. But it's unrealistic, like I mentioned earlier in this video, where just because someone joins college or enrolls in college, they don't give you the deployment because you signed up and started paying payments to it. And you don't have the skill set to go out and do the skill of what it is that you're going to college to learn. So the same thing with these 12 unique models. Just because you have the videos and you watch them doesn't mean that you know what you're doing with any of them, because you still have that problem of figuring out which one does your personality align with the most. And then once you figure that part out, then you got to spend time with it and then tweak it. Figure out what it is that you've already picked up as a pattern or an underlying condition in the marketplace throughout your lessons in the mentorship. Each month that you're paying and you're getting new information and new learning, it's building on your base of knowledge. And then as that's happening, you're starting to form the early stages of you as the trader. And that personality that you have as that trader, you need to apply that to one of the models that closely relates to that way of interpreting price. That's why you shouldn't try to do all of them. You find one that you resonate with the most and you work on that one until you get really, really good. And then if you're really consistent with that one, then branch out to another one that is closely related to what you've been doing. And over time, your life, your career, you build on the other ones if you feel the inclination. But if you don't, and you're consistently profitable with one of the models that you've worked with, you don't need to do anything else. That's the model. Don't let your passion of trying to mimic me lose sight of the goal of why you even joined here. You joined so that way you can learn how to make money. How to find consistent, profitable trading setups that doesn't require ICT to point them out on the chart or outline the potential formation of it in the coming weeks or days. That's independence. That's what I'm trying to foster here. So one of the things that, and then you're probably looking at this, your pound chart, 15-minute time frame. Can you just say what you were going to say about this chart so I can turn the chart off? Turn this video off because you're not talking to me now. That's, if you're thinking that, you're one of the guys I was referring to, or gals, referring to earlier in the video, where this sense of entitlement, where you think you're going to know what you should know and you want to filter out. Don't try to filter out anything. Everything I'm telling you has its place. But the folks that put their fingers in their ears and they say, no, I don't want to hear what he's saying right now. He's talking too much. This is too much jawboning about nothing. Or some of you are pissed off because I said I would make this free if it starts getting leaked a lot. And I probably ruined a lot of you and it messed up your whole train of thought, didn't I? Well, imagine what it's like to be me. Think about it. So I want you to understand I'm a human being, okay? I have the same capabilities of getting pissed off and rage, and I have the same feelings of being disappointed and hurt, because while I've made lots of money doing this mentorship, this is my life. So I don't want any of you thinking that you're entitled to prostitute any of it. And for the most part, the majority of you do respect that. And I'm so thankful for that. But I just want to speak to the individuals here that if you think you're going to do that and it just becomes a meal ticket for you, it won't be. And for the people that would think, okay, well, this is not fair because I paid and I didn't do that, but I'm being punished. No. You are learning real time. That's mentorship. You're being trained. You're being exposed to the markets as they happen. Okay, you're seeing it live. You're seeing the forecasting before it happens. That's mentorship. If someone watches these videos after the fact, yeah, it sounds cool. but they didn't get the same level of training that you are watching and learning right now, like last night's video. Now, I gave you specific parameters of what I would anticipate seeing that would formulate an expectation or setup for me to see in cable, dollar index, and then what I said was going to happen in euro pound, and we see it here in the chart. That's why I talk the way I do, because it's not enough to say euro dollar is going to go down here, it's going to sell off. Because what's going to happen is, if I just did that, you'd feel like, well, you never tell us why you think that. But then you have folks in here that complain about the gravity I place on why I say the things I say, and you say I talk too much. So I'm never going to be able to meet everyone's expectations, okay? But if I had to do the nuclear option here, okay, say at the end of this year, when everybody becomes a charter member in 2021, and the folks that think they're going to go out there and do their own little business opportunity of selling my videos, okay, believe me, it'll get back to me real quick. And then as soon as I see it, if it becomes rampant, it'll be just a public notice I put on YouTube in a video. Don't buy anybody's ICT ripoff videos. Come in to the forum. It's free. Now, the folks that are here that are paying, you're going to be thinking, man, this is wrong. This is so disrespectful. Really, it is. That it's having to be done. That's what I'll do. And I want you to know that's what I'll do. I don't want to make more money selling videos. I don't want to bring people. I have thousands of people emailing me every single month to do one more mentorship, And I don't have it in me, folks. I don't have it in me. Every time I let new people in here, I'm always expecting to be stabbed in the back. And the trust aspect, like I said, I have obsessive compulsive disorder. That is a real thing, folks. I don't say it to be funny. I have it. It's real. And I struggled with it all my life. And I know there are people here that have ill intentions. Once their 2021 membership gets them to charter member, they're going to go in the business of selling videos because they know I'm not letting it happen for other people to come into this mentorship. Now, my children will have the rights in 2022. And they have discussed how I don't want to bring more people into the forum. I don't want to be managing people. I don't want to be dealing with all that stuff. It's just too much. It's way too much. And I'm about to turn 50 next year. Okay? And my body's telling me it's changing. So I don't have the patience. I don't have the energy that I used to have. And I don't want to be dealing with all these personalities. But they have expressed an interest in taking the content that has been produced or will be produced and up to the charter level and making that available to people to just buy it as is. And it's theirs. If they want to do that, it's theirs to do it. But I'm not doing that. I'm not managing that. I don't want any parts of it. But the folks that buy that won't have access to like what you have here. When I'm making updates to the forum, they won't have access to that. They won't even be in the mentorship forum. They won't have any parts of that. Because I want this community to be close-knit, close to the vest, hush-hush. Don't talk about anything that you learn here. Don't talk about what you've heard me say. Just be quiet and just be thankful that you're here. But that's their intentions. They want to go that route because they know it's marketable. They know everybody wants it. And people can buy those videos. And I have a lot of people that are asking for that too. I don't need the money. I don't want the money. I don't want the problem. I don't want the headache. I don't want anything to do with it. I want to lower my output. But since this is all for my children, it's for them. It's not necessary for you. It's them. I've been open and honest with you, and one of them has been open with the folks in my Telegram channel, Caleb. He doesn't want to do it. And Cody's not interested in Forex. He's into crypto, but he's doing his thing. And my other two children are not interested, and my daughter just doesn't have any interest in it at all. But, much like everyone else that wants to sell my stuff, my children see that there's an opportunity as a business for them to sell what I have given them permission to do when I give them the rights to the company and the content they will have rights to sell it. Now, my daughter is very, very, very aggressive. So she will have lawyers and all kinds of stuff going after anybody that sells it, and good on her. I don't want to be bothered by any of that. I don't want to be bothered by memberships. I don't want to be bothered by money payments, who missed it. I don't want to deal with my staff anymore. I don't want that problem. And I don't want to be managing servers and all that stuff. It's tiring. It's very, very tiring. It doesn't make a difference how much money I've made doing it. It's like having a full-time job plus a part-time job. And I can't keep up with it. But sometime in the spring of next year, when the rights are given to my kids, they will have the permission and rights to do whatever they want to do with this stuff. If they want to create a mentorship out of it, or if they want to sell videos or a package deal, it's on them. But whatever I have done up until that moment, that's all they have, because I've told them they're not going to have anything to do with the forum. They're not going to have anything to do with the ongoing mentorship. That's it. I'm done. None of these people can do that. And the reason why, because I don't want to have to work through another group of personalities and being stabbed in the back and losing trust. I want the circle to get smaller, not larger. And if I were you, I'd be thankful that I'm here. Not because I'm special, not because I want to be worshipped, but you found your way here, and there's a lot to learn here, even after becoming a charter member. Like, there's lots of things I can talk about. And it's not even just trading, it's other things. Like, I have a lot of ways to make money, lots of stuff. And I'd like to be able to share that with you, but we have a lot of stuff to talk about with this here, and training you weekly, showing you what the environments would likely provide for opportunity, and then watching how it develops and unfolds. That's being mentored. It's not enough to say, hey, look, $1 or £1 is going to go down to this level, or run down as a low resistance liquidity run signature. Okay, that's great. But notice I don't need to go back in and talk about how it goes back to the bearish order block here, and coming back into this fair value gap and creating an optimal trade entry, because you've seen that. That's why I don't talk about those things anymore. You've been exposed to that. What I'm training you to do is see and forecast what the market will likely do. Based on that, the lessons that you get each month, and practicing and learning and studying those things in hindsight, you will learn what these patterns are relative to the kill zones, London and New York, when these specific signatures materialize. The hardest thing you're going to have to determine is, should the market go up or down for the day? Once you understand that that is the line in the sand for you here, everybody thinks it's the line in the sand for them outside the mentorship. They need to know what's the bias today, because if I just could have that, I would make money. For the folks outside the mentorship, that's not true. For folks that are here, that is true, because you have what's inside of the narrative, the signatures that I don't teach on YouTube. Here, if I point out a underlying narrative and a directional bias, you have been trained what to look for. For instance, institutional order flow entry drill. That would be fair value gap here. All it's got to do is trade back to this high. If it does that, it does it right there. And your stop has to be above what? The bearish order block. So it's got to be above this up close candle, and your entry is here at this candle here. So entry here on a limit. You have a little bit of drawdown, but that's fine. You can expect it to trade back to the bearish order block, so that's an allowance for the trade for risk. But your stop is above the high of the up close candle, which is the bearish order block. You've learned that. I didn't just teach it to you right now. You've been taught that in commentaries, not in specific lessons. It's in the commentaries. That's being mentored. So if I'm saying it's going to go lower, where's the signals form? In the kill zones. between 2 a.m. and 5 a.m. New York local time. That's London. Or 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. New York local time. That's New York. That's it. You're looking for these things that make sense to you as a trader. Some of you, again, are the bearish order block traders. Okay, this low, if it trades back to that, less a spread, that gets you in here. If you are optimal trade entry trader, the high, the low, fair value gap, there you go, sells off. That's your setup. Simple, bread and butter. You can make this as complicated as possible, or you can make it as complex as you want it. My goal for you is to initially go into this and find the one thing that makes it easy for you to find a setup. And that way you don't have to worry about all the other complicated things. And you enjoy doing this. It's fun. But it doesn't require you to be in front of your charts all the time too. That's the other side of this, being mentored, is not to spend more time than it's necessary. Now, it's an admirable thing for you as a developing student to feel like you got to digest the entire month's content the first day you get access to it. You know, everyone that's paying accelerated payments and they're going through the content faster, they're most likely trying to binge watch the entire month's content. And you're actually doing yourself a disservice if you do that, because you can't retain all that. There's no way to retain it. There's so much information. It's like drinking from a fire hose. I've used this analogy many times. You rip your face off. Having a measured approach to digesting the content, that way you can take notes and you can refer to your notes. Just like right now, we have a video every single day. And the things I'm talking about in the video, about what should transpire the next day, you have a lot to learn and study each day. And then you have all these videos you're getting each month when you're paying for the monthly content. You feel like you're going to force feed yourself all that. And it's like information overload. And it's like, what the hell am I supposed to be focusing on right now? That's why I forced everybody when I was doing active enrollments and such. They had to pay once a month and they couldn't do it at a faster pace, because it just created a nightmare for my staff and myself, because they would have 1,000 questions because they're giving themselves no opportunity to learn at an appropriate pace. There's nothing wrong with excitement about getting to the next level of understanding in the lessons, because you're fascinated by it. You're in love. You're like a sponge. You want to soak it all up. And I get it. I was the same way. But you got to understand something. There's a lot of information here. And there's subtle nuances to certain things. And if you go through too quickly, you'll not hear me say something that is clearly stated in a video that you'll swear to God that if you went back in time and listened to the video that you downloaded that's in your own computer, not me changing something on the server to make myself sound better after the fact. That's why every video, if I make a mistake, it stays that way. It just stays that way. I cannot go back in and fix it. Once it makes its way to the server and a link is posted on the forum, it is what it is. And I have to live with that. And it's a hard thing for someone like me to have OCD, knowing that I have a problem or an error or an artifact in a video. Like some people will say, hey, look, this video goes on and on and on, but there's no picture, there's no sound or whatever. Well, it's because I messed up in the video, and the video actually did end, but I will not go back in and edit anything, because I am not going to be, like for instance, so if I ever had to be audited, or like say at the Commodity Futures Trading Commission, decided that, hey, look, they want to come in here and with a fine-tooth comb and say, you know, let's see what you're really been doing. I believe they're already here, but nonetheless, everything is on the up and up here. I'm on the record before it all happens, and I'm pretty good at my, well, percentage of what I think is going to happen, what I think is going to happen in the marketplace, and there it is. I don't change anything to make myself look smart. I don't defraud anybody here. Okay, I don't lie and say this or that or change things after the fact. But you will watch a video if you go through this too fast. And you'll hear me say something but you aren't really listening and retaining it. So if you later on find out that, hey, the thing you're struggling with was in the video you went through too fast and went right over your head, you listen to the video again and you're like, wow, how did I miss that? And maybe it's not as drastic as something like that. Maybe it's just you revisiting old lessons and you're like, wow, I just watched this a second time and I didn't realize it had that much, because you have gone further into the mentorship, you got more understanding, and your increased understanding, which doesn't feel that much more increased when you get to the new level or next month. But when you go back to the previous lessons and go through them again, because you should be cycling through these each year. This is how you do mentorship. Every single year, you go right back through it all again. All the each month's content, you go through those lessons again. And by going through them, it forces you to revisit ideas that you may have not fully understood at the time, but because you have filled in other areas and fortified your understanding in other areas of understanding the price delivery, when you go back to these other lessons that maybe didn't feel like they were all that significant in the beginning, because I've had a lot of folks in the past that were very opinionated. The first group, the entitlement mentality was really rampant then. Well, this is all Baby Pips stuff, or this is all not Baby Pips lessons, but the things I taught on Baby Pips in the videos and on YouTube. Oh, all he's doing is selling YouTube video content. No, the first 4 months is that. Because I wanted to make sure that all the things I taught on YouTube was condensed into the first 4 months content. So anyone that trains with the first 4 months of mentorship, that's what everyone should have gleaned from every YouTube video I ever produced. That's what they should know. That way, when we go into month 5 content, there's a transition. Things look different. Okay? That's different. That's the stuff I never talked about on Baby Pets. I never talked about it on YouTube. And you go deeper in your understanding of the price algorithms and understand why price does what it does. But by cycling through the lessons again, you'll think to yourself, wow, there's a lot of really good information in here that I discounted the first time. Because when you're new or you're going to a new month, you may not realize this, and maybe you'll be nodding your head saying, yeah, that's true. You're buying the new month content, or you paid for the new month content, and then you get into the lessons and you're excited because you want to get in and see something new. You want to see, like, okay, this is going to be a thing that really unlocks it all for me. And that spirit of expectation is admirable, it's commendable, and you should have it, but maybe it doesn't fully give you that feeling of, okay, now I'm fulfilled. It brings on more questions. And then you go to the next month and it does a little bit more and does a little bit more. You don't see that gradual increase of understanding because you don't have it, and you don't have any way of measuring it against anything. Because each new month's content is standalone for the most part, because everything's been compartmentalized. It's modular. So when you're first exposed to it, you're like, yeah, I'm excited. And you watch them all, you're like, I really don't know much about what I just watched. But the strange thing is once you go through all 12 months content, then you cycle right back through to month 1 again. Month 1 will feel like an oasis. It will feel like, holy cow, I know how to trade now just by watching month 1 content. But you really didn't know month 1 content the first time you watched it, because it's like, this is really simple. This is a really simple way of interpreting price and expecting how the elements of a trade setup form and what I should be focusing on. But once you go through all the core content and now you're a charter member, before we even get into price action models, we're not even talking about that. Go back and cycle through month 1 teaching lessons again. And it's going to feel like a totally new experience, because now you have such a foundation of algorithmic theory, price delivery, and a more practical overview of what it is I teach. So now when you go back into these individual lessons, they're going to feel like they're so much more amplified when it's the same video you watched a year before. That's how you study here efficiently. Every year you cycle through. And a lot of people don't know this, but every 7 years, there's this little node in our brain where all of our memories are stored. Every 7 years that breaks off and you lose a little bit. So by cycling through each year, you keep renewing it and it keeps you fresh. Even if you think you know that area of material, still go through it. Not all the videos are this long or like it was last night. Okay, they're not all that long. But every day you should cycle through and do a video and just go through each month in the order that I gave them to you and just cycle through it. And by doing that, it keeps it refreshed in your mind, and I guarantee you will pick up more things and swear that I added something to the video that I didn't remember hearing that the first time. Or when you're going through your notes, you're going to find that you're putting in more information in your notes for that particular month. And when you write it down in your own words, your brain retains it more. It's a deeper retention, not just hearing something. Hearing it and revisiting that idea and then writing down an amplified perception about what it is that you heard and observed, that gives you a greater understanding and an affinity for what it is that I've taught you. And that's the only way you're going to realistically digest all this information, because you can't just watch it one time and therefore you know it. It doesn't work that way. And a lot of people have come through this mentorship thinking that's how it was going to work for them. They were going to be the one that it works for like that, and they don't do it. It's only the people that get in here and just chew on it and eventually they get it down. They swallow it. It's a lot of information, but you just got to come in here with the right mindset. This is going to take a lot of work. It's going to take a lot of time, but it's so worth it, because once you understand it, you just got to keep yourself fresh and practice with it. Once you practice with it, it's like riding a bike. You can not ride a bike for years and get on a bike again and immediately know what you're doing. Now, you might feel a little clumsy trying to drive fast and jump on curbs and stuff like that. I would be reluctant to want to do that myself, but you understand how to do it. Your brain remembers it. Muscle memory. Trading is the same way. As long as your eyesight is really good and your mental faculties are on point, you'll be able to keep doing this the rest of your life. And that's what you want to do. But you can't expect this stuff to happen just because you bought the month's content and you watch it, you download it, and you viewed it, and maybe you scribbled some notes down to feel like you've done something. Your notes will be much more richer, much more meaningful the second, the third, and the fourth time you go through all the content. And some of you are shaking your head, there ain't no way I'm going to go through all this again, Michael. Well, you're going to get the results that you put into it. Because I'm telling you, the folks that I have here that are doing exceptionally well, they've gone through 4 and 5 times. So I'm just warning you, that's the level of commitment and participation that's going to be required for the majority of you. Not all of you. Some of you may be in here that were really working hard through the YouTube content, and then now this is the final volume that was required for you to get it for yourself, and that's great. But I'm a realist, so I'm trying to tell you what it is that's going to be required for the majority of you. But anyway, that's enough coffee table discussion for one night, I guess. We did obviously see what we were expecting for euro pound and all of the relationships of dollar, euro dollar, and British pound versus US dollar, falling in suit with all of what we see here in this 15-minute time frame. Just a real nice run on this one. And this is what we're referring to as a low resistance liquidity run. If you have yet to really define what it is I'm teaching in mentorship, it's this type of movement here. This type of thing right here. That's a low resistance liquidity run signature. I teach high resistance liquidity runs because yes, you can trade them. Yes, they can be profitable, but I want you to know what they are so that way you can see what makes these types of trades what they are, low resistance. These types of trades are easy. These are the ones that I want your eye and your mind to understand how to look for and find on your own. And by doing that, in the scope of what your expectation and analysis would be for the weekly range, that is mentorship. That's what I teach everyone. And there's a lot that you can do in that weekly range. There's lots of different ways of formulating a opportunity. There's lots of different ways to structure a model for yourself, whether it be scalping, day trading, short-term trading, swing trading, position trading. All of those things could be incorporated from a unique perspective that makes the model or approach for you unique to you. Even though if you shared it, and I'm encouraging you to share it with the students once you become a charter member, don't think that, if I share this in the forum, somebody's going to take my model and then, it's going to fail because of that. I don't want you to think that, because my stuff doesn't fall apart because it's the market. Okay. That's the reason why I teach it, because if I felt that if it was going to fall apart because if I taught it, I never would have taught it. And that's honesty. Okay. I would have found a way to resist and be disobedient. Okay. And not follow through with what I promised the Lord when I asked him if he would give me the understanding. I would spend the rest of my life sharing and teaching it. If I knew that it was going to fall apart, I would have been disobedient. And that's honesty. That's as real talk as I can get it. But I want you to understand that this stuff doesn't fail because they write it this way. It's coded this way. It's the market. And it's going to, every time they create a market, it'll always fall in this model of delivery. The things that they do, as I teach here, they do this with every market, every single one of them. Commodities have a little bit different approach because they are supply and demand factors involved, because it's a real commodity. It exists. It's consumed. It's either food or a resource. A currency is an illusion. Cryptocurrency is an illusion. There's nothing real about any of it. It's just an idea that is perpetuated, and it's a belief. It's a religion. Each one of these currencies is a religion. So there's no real atheists. Okay, everybody believes in something. All right, and for the majority of folks out there in the world, money is their god. And the faith-based system that is required for these currencies to even exist is astonishing when you really take a step back and look at it. But commodities have a real supply and demand association. It's really linked to supply and demand because there's a supply of these things and it's limited. There is a limit to how much corn that's grown. There's a limit to how much gold is on hand. So those markets are really controlled by a supply and demand factor. Stocks are not, even though they say, oh yeah, we have this number of shares in float. They can create new shares. They can bring more shares to the marketplace. So that's not really a supply and demand factor because it can be manipulated. You can't make more corn materialize if the crop is not good, or if it's a bumper crop and there's much more wheat that was expected, or much more wheat coming to the market that was anticipated because of the reports that were being accumulated and sent out to the public. And that bumper crop creates a gluttony of wheat. So therefore, the supply and demand factors cause wheat prices to drop. We have a real number of a particular commodity. That doesn't exist in any other market. That's why I say all the time, if Forex for whatever reason becomes an impossibility, no problem. I'm going back to commodities because commodities will always exist. It's always been that way. Always been that way since the beginning of time. People bought and sold grains, food. Those markets will always exist. And they have the same signatures I teach you here. They have actually less signatures. And it makes it easier. But because these markets that we're trading here in currencies, they have a lot more setups and they're a little bit more specific in time because they're linked to an algorithm. There isn't really all that much of an algorithm with commodities. There's a general delivery of market making that's obviously associated to what I'm showing you here. But when the supply factors are really exaggerated because of a shortage or a gluttony of supply in a commodity like wheat, corn, lean hogs, cattle prices, and things like that, those price moves can go way beyond, way beyond any targets that I can come up with in technical analysis, because people are going to be paying whatever they're willing to pay because they need it. Cocoa. Hershey needs to use cocoa to make chocolate, right? So if there's a shortage of cocoa and they start sending it into a premium bullish market where it just keeps going parabolic higher, Hershey's going to have to buy it at these elevated prices. They have to do business. They got to make the chocolate bars. They got to make the ice cream or whatever else that Hershey's doing to sell product with cocoa in it. And they'll have to buy it at those high prices because they can't afford to tell the customer, yeah, we don't have any chocolate to sell, when chocolate is their commodity of sale. Like, they sell confections. They have to sell something with chocolate. So if there's a shortage of that commodity, and sugar, same thing, they have to have that commodity. We don't have those attributes in a currency. It's an illusion. We don't have that in crypto. It's an illusion. In stocks, it's an illusion. I don't care how much the company's making in profits. These same market-making ideas keep pushing it to an elevated premium until they met what they wanted to meet in terms of distribution at those highs. It's not there's an absence of buyers like they're being perpetuated in books. It's they don't want to sell anymore at those prices, and they want to draw it back down in to build in the next level of sentiment. And that flies in the face of the logic that everyone thinks they understand about the markets. And that's why when I first started touching and scratching the surface of these ideas and principles, they would make jokes and say, oh, this guy's a clown. He doesn't know what he's talking about. I talked to this guy over here that used to be a market maker at this and that. It turns out that the guy wasn't a market maker. It turns out that this guy doesn't even know what he's talking about. And here you are. You're learning how these markets are actually really book. And it's not something that anyone can argue. You see it firsthand. I outline these things and then it happens. There's no other signatures, logic, retail principles, any of that stuff can't be placed on what I showed you last night, let alone for years now in this mentorship. So there's something different. So I want you to keep that in mind, okay? Because there's a lot more wizardry here to come. And I don't want anyone to think so little of me or the sacrifice it took for me to get this information to diminish it with prostituting it, repackaging it. Because the money you make by doing that, it's so insignificant versus what you can do when you really know what you're doing with this information. Because you're limited in how many people want to buy it from you. That's a limit. But you're unlimited in your ability to use this information and profit from it in speculation. Like, think about that. Now, in honesty, in closing, if you were to ask me, and I have been asked this, have I made more money teaching? Okay, and have I made more money teaching in mentorship than I have in live trading? And the answer is yes. I've made millions and millions and millions more teaching mentorship. So I did not need to do this mentorship. I've been a rich man for a long, long time. I am really, really rich now. And I don't want to lose my passion for doing what I'm doing here, because I'm not going to be rewarded monetarily for teaching anymore. So I want to cultivate this community in the mindset that there's no real reason for me to want to do this anymore except for my passion in doing it. So the people that are here that would seek to gain, profits by, marketing or selling or sharing it, would take away that passion. And while I don't want to do that, I don't want that to happen, I can live with the rest of my life not doing this. I want to do this for as long as I have the mental faculties. I enjoy it. Obviously, I'm still talking to you. I want to have this outlet because I can't talk like I can talk here on YouTube. And I will not talk like this in Telegram. I will not talk like this on SoundCloud. I won't do it anywhere else. So it gives me, in a lot of ways, a form of therapy because I don't have to keep it inside. I can share it outwardly. My wife doesn't care about it. And my children, they don't have any real interest in it. So for years, I tried to beat on them the importance of learning how to do this, but they didn't care. Even as young adults, they still don't care. And I'm making them work menial jobs, and they still don't care. So I'm not sure if they're arm wrestling me, like I said earlier, they're trying to wait me out and see if I'm going to get frustrated and say, okay, whatever. That's not going to happen. So I appreciate this opportunity to be able to talk to all of you like I do. And I just don't want any of you messing it up, not only for my own sake, but for your own sake. I mean, you invested time, you invested money, and I don't want to get a case of the ass like I've done in the past. And you've seen it. Like, I've closed up shop over Baby Pips, and it was done, and I never went back. And they would love for me to go back over there and start doing it again. They would love it. They would love for me to go back over there and rejoin Baby Pips. Because I would bring millions of followers and views and ad revenue just being there again. They made lots of money off of me being there. But I will never do that. I will never do it. I will never join another place and talk and draw attention to anything because it's a distraction. None of it out there is worth spending any of your time there. And you found your way home here. You're here. Don't mess it up. And with that, I'm going to close. Obviously, you can tell I've had a lot of things I wanted to say in my mind. Last week or so, I've been in pain, didn't want to spend much time talking. But I got a lot of things that were on my mind while I was pain-ridden. And when you're in pain, you tend to think about things a little bit more critically. Like you're more critical on your thoughts about certain things. And some of the things were, I know that like I said, there's people here that want to do things to make themselves money the easy way, and I said what I said in this video, and I mean it. I absolutely mean everything I said. So when I had more time to sit there and reflect on how I wanted to discuss it, I knew it would be one day this week I wanted to mention and address it because there's a couple guys on Telegram that are saying, yeah, when it's done, I'm gonna leak it all. Well, that's obviously within the capabilities of everyone that joins here. Everyone here that becomes a charter member has that potential to go leak their form of their content, their versions, okay? But it has a consequence. And I'm never letting another person in this area and ever in the future. So while we're having difficult times right now in the marketplace, this is temporary. And there's a lot of amazing moves in years to come. And how well do you know the content? Can you do this without me? I don't want you to depend on me, but if you're a 2021 member and you think that you're going to do what we've been discussing in this video, you're going to cut your nose off to spite your face, and you're going to be on the outside. And you don't know what I'm going to be teaching in the future, and you don't know what things I'm going to make available to anyone years from now. And it's just stupid. It's dumb. I'm not looking to make more money off of any new students. I'm not looking to bring more people in this mentorship, in this community. But I am absolutely ready to hit the nuclear option if people in here want to act stupid. And I will completely end the whole ongoing part of this community if it's abused in 2022. So I spoke my mind on it. I won't need to revisit it again. I've said a lot more about it in this video than I wanted to, but I did want to address it because last week I was just thinking about it and it was bothering me. So now I got it off my chest. Don't send me emails about your feelings about it. Okay. I don't want to hear about it because I know all of you don't want that to happen, and I don't want it to happen either. I'm trying to appeal to the people so that way they understand the dynamic here. I'm not losing money by making it free because I don't intend to take money in the future for lessons and mentorship. I don't intend to. That's not even in the cards. I don't care to do it again. I don't want to do it. I want to be in this community and have my own small inner circle, even though there's a lot of you. But that inner circle is those individuals that I want to be able to speak to. And I don't want my things going over to YouTube, watered down by somebody that doesn't really know what they're talking about, but says the things I said here. I don't want that. And, ultimately, I'm probably wasting my time saying this. People are going to do what they got to do because some of them are in countries that are really impoverished and they just can't wait to get what they think is everything. And they're going to, try to do it. And I'm going to tell you, it all goes away. And that money, what do you think's going to happen? When I go on my YouTube channel and say, hey, this is all for free. Don't pay anything for it now. Who in their right mind would give you anything for it? Nobody would. In fact, you can find a lot of what's going on in this mentorship in various places all over the internet. And a lot of you knew it when you joined this year. So why'd you join? For videos like last night and this one, where we talk about things that are a little bit deeper and moves and why things should move the way they do before they happen. That's mentorship. Like I said before, these videos that you get in the lessons each month, I could literally put them on YouTube for free. And they're not going to know as much as they will know if they're here. They're just introductions. It's just me demonstrating conceptual ideas that I have to place in their proper context, at their proper timing. That's being mentored. I didn't come up with this stuff, on a weekend and say, I'm going to teach it like this and, here it is. No, I have really thought this out because I knew there's going to be people that come in here and take advantage of me and this content. And yes, I've made millionaires around the world by them selling this content. They are rich by doing that. And that's fine. I can't change it. Am I losing any sleep over that? No. Because I've made many, 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 many more millions than they ever will. And I have the ability to make more whenever I want and not having to do it with lessons and teaching and videos. I don't need to do that. So I'm a warehouse of this stuff. And I'm loaded with information. And I could create new things all the time. I don't need to do this mentorship. I don't want to do it. But I want to make sure that everybody has the understanding of what I will do if in 2022, if everything starts getting thrown around, done. Nobody will make money selling my stuff. Not one person will. And my interest will be completely diminished. And I won't want to do any forecasting. I'll just talk about what's already happened. So weigh out what you are really here for. Because it's an opportunity. If not fully appreciated, it could be squandered. And it'd be a terrible waste. Terrible waste. Because while you don't necessarily need me to be with you every single day or every single week, the rest of your life or the rest of my life, it's certainly much more fun, isn't it? I mean, you may not like to have these long discussions, and you probably don't like the way you feel after me saying what I've said, but I need to know that you understand how far I'm willing to go to stop individuals by selling my stuff. And leaking my content, no, that's just free advertising. All that's going to do is send people to my YouTube channel, and I'll make ad revenue there. So I'm not losing anything. I'm not losing, because I'm comfortable with the fact that if everybody gets the charter membership next year and they have all the algorithmic principles that in theory that I'm teaching, if they have all that, even if I don't do anything more, you have everything that you ever would need. You really have that now, but you would never need another video from me. But you paid for lifetime access to me, not a streaming service on a server. You paid for access to me, where I continuously provide content to you, and you have the opportunity to ask questions if you don't understand it in a community basis like the forum. That's what you paid for. And I don't want to be spending my life making videos and ultimately multiple copies of the same video each day, but it's just too time consuming. So to keep me engaged and passionate about what it is I'm doing here, all of you need to be mindful about what it is that you're permitted to do and what you're not permitted to do. And what would it absolutely just turn me off to all of this. And ultimately the decision on what we do in the future is controlled by you all as the community. And that's a lot of authority if you think about it. You have me on a string. But if I don't like how you're pulling me, I'll cut that string. Because I'm not obligated to any of you. I'm not obligated to spend my life with you. I want to spend my life with you. That's a choice I'm making. But if you steal the passion in wanting to do that by taking advantage of this opportunity, I will have no regrets. Not one. And I'll live my life comfortable knowing that I don't have any regrets in pulling the plug. So all of you should encourage one another to keep it in-house. I've recently deleted a thread that was started by a new charter member, and they were asking everyone, hey, look, what's your Telegram handle? Let's create a channel on Telegram, and let's all share ideas. And there is absolutely no reason to do that. That's the reason why I created the forum. That's why in the terms of use, when you signed up and enrolled here, all of that is spelled out there. You can't do those types of things and be in good standing here. Because the reason why is there's people in Telegram that can see what you're typing in that room. And all those things that you're sharing there, Telegram personnel can see those things. You don't know what they can see, and you don't know how to vet anyone. You can say that, oh yeah, we have to clear each other through the forum on ICT's mentorship, but why are you asking someone to come out of the mentorship forum to go into a Telegram room when everything that you could post in the forum is the same thing that you'd post in a Telegram channel? Like, it's dumb. It begs the question, why are these individuals here that I've deleted the thread, and I've said in a post on the news thread in the forum, if anybody does that in the future, you're banned. Period. There's no discussion. There's no forgiveness. There's nothing. Yes, I'm playing little Hitler here. I don't care. I've had people here try to do that in the past to create some kind of a money-making opportunity. And I'm not allowing that. You do that here, and you're violating the terms of use. You have been given a forum to communicate with other members in your user group. You don't know what user group is allowed to see what threads that you're in. So when you ask a forum member from a user group that may not be able to see everything, because we recently had a glitch in the forum. We were hacked, and they changed all the settings. Everybody could see other threads, and it was a mess. A mess. So I had to delete a lot of stuff and a lot of really good threads. Some of the threads were changed because they created a administrator level account, and it was a nightmare. So that's the reason why we stripped the forum down, and now all of the charter membership areas and individual threads, not my content, but the threads that other members created, they're starting to be repopulated and recreated. I can't pull that information back. So I know some of you have asked in the past, can these threads be put back? No, they're gone. Like, I had to pull the nuclear option on that because there was vulgar things posted in there. There was pornographic things posted in there. Like, I can't have that here. So I just cleaned the whole thing up. And we're monitoring a little bit more closer now, but the ban hammer is hot and ready to strike. And if anybody tries to lure anyone outside the forum into another area of communication like a Telegram or Discord, that's why you can't edit your posts. It allows you to, well, it forces you rather, to sit down and think about what it is that you're typing, because you don't get another option to fix it. You can't edit it, you can't fix any typos, and you can't retract it. You can't even delete it. I do that for a reason, because once you put that piece of information out there, I know who it is. You can't hide yourself. You can't remove the evidence. You can't change it. You can't sugarcoat it. It is exactly as you put it the first time. That allows us time to go through and find the beginning of whatever problem starts or surfaces. Don't be in here trying to encourage people to go to channels and such to talk about ICT mentorship. That's why you have a forum. Okay? You can create your own threads. That's like your own channel on Telegram. Create your own thread. Once you're a charter member, your channel is equivalent to your thread here. And everybody that's a charter member in your user group can go into that thread. And they can communicate the same way they can do on a Telegram channel. There's absolutely zero reason to go anywhere else. You can post charts here. You can post your commentary. You can talk about signals that you think is forming, all that stuff. That's the reason why I created the forum. Listen, I don't need the headache, okay? I don't need the headache of managing all of these individuals in these threads and all of this activity. I don't want to have that problem, to be worrying about it. But I want you to know that there's no way for you to cover your tracks here. And if you invite other people by, hey, here's my email address, email me. That's the same way. You will lose your account here. Because why are you sending someone your email address? Because you want to talk about things about going into another channel. And what I'm protecting is you don't have control of what information is being viewed in Telegram or Discord. There are people that can see in these channels that from an administrative level, I don't want these people seeing what it is that you are learning here. If that was the case, I would just go out there and just do it for free on YouTube. So understand that you have this resource here for a reason. If it's something that I could see, oh yeah, there's an advantage in Telegram because this or that. There is no advantage. I have my own Telegram channel. It's equivalent to what you can do here in the forum, but it's safeguarded here. Only members that are here in good standing can see these things that are being shared. In Telegram, I have videos of my mentorship that Telegram will not remove. Even with copyright infringement, everything sent to them, they are ignoring it. So think about it. These people don't want to take my content down because that's how they can accumulate more of it. That's why they stopped taking it down with my copyright infringement, because the people that are working for Telegram, they're accumulating the videos. And they're doing their own little piracy, sale like anybody else that's been doing it. And they're in an area where I can't reach them efficiently to make them do anything. So mentioning Telegram as going to this channel or going to that channel immediately will see you gone here. So that way we understand each other. So tonight's video probably wasn't a fun one, was it? Probably made you feel a little nervous maybe, or upset you. There's no reason to feel upset. If everybody just does what they agreed to when they enrolled here, none of these things are a problem. None of them are. We're all being expected to be respectful adults and courteous. Courteous to each other in the investment each of you made and the investment that I have made in all of you. It's a lot of work to do all this stuff, and it takes a lot of people to keep it going, and it takes very little for me to say this is not worth it anymore. So hopefully we understand each other now. Hopefully we don't ever have to touch this again as a subject matter. But I knew I was going to have to talk to you about it because it was eating at me last week when I was just laying on the bed, couldn't do anything else. And I said, well, I have to address this now because it's got to happen. Because I was on my back going through Telegram channels and seeing a lot of my content. And yes, I know there's people that I've kicked out, and yes, they are banned students, and yes, it's their videos that are up there, and yes, they're there, and I cannot remove them because Telegram won't take them down. They ignore my emails now, and even though lawyers send them information that says, look, you got to remove this, they ignore it because they just don't care. And these people that run it are, pretty consistent with saying, they don't give a shit, in lack of a better word. So that's why I'm having a hard stance on this, because once my content makes its way to Telegram, it's kind of like a done deal. They're not going to remove it. And as soon as one person puts up the videos, they get shared to dozens of other rooms. So even if that one room gets taken down, there's dozens of the other channels that have that same video copied amongst dozens more. So even if I delete a room or a channel like I've had in the past done, every time that has been shared somewhere else, it's not being removed there. It's been a new resource, shared there. So it worried me in the beginning when I started seeing it, but now it's like, you know what? It is what it is. I'm not going to be able to police everything. And that's why I tell the students that report it, they're upset because they see what they're paying for. And I'm reminding you in this video, like, you're paying for ongoing, not just those one videos I've made, since 2016. Who cares? Those videos didn't even have watermarks on them because I knew they'd be shared. They were viral advertisement for me. That's what they were designed for. I didn't pay any advertising. I had leakers and, lowbrow crooks come in here and they were marketing my stuff, selling it around, but they actually pushed it around into areas where it made it mainstream. And because of that, I've made millions per month. And I never had to pay for advertising. I thought this through from the beginning. But, at some point when it becomes so popular like it is, it's going to be rampant with piracy. So now, because I've closed the loop, there is no way for these people to come right back in. Like, I've had people come in. And I know some of the people I've banned came in this last group of 2021. I know. Because they're not in here giving those videos away anymore. They're repackaging it now. They're doing their own little mentorship and hiding it that way because I found them by sharing or selling my videos the last time. So they're a little bit smarter this time. But, whenever I talk or whenever anybody talks that has authority over a matter or subject, if it's proven that they know what they're talking about, there's so many classless individuals that come behind them and try to parrot what they say, because the majority of people in the world may not know the original source of the material. So it allows them to pretend and defraud people, and they get this sense of achievement and significance. But they have to look at themselves and know that they really aren't anyone unless the person or the source speaks about it first. And I love twisting that knife because you hear me right now. You're not all that person, but that persons that do that are in here and hear me say that. And they may snicker and say, yeah, but I'm still making money. But you're still a scrub. You're still someone that's never going to get any better than that. And you can change that. And you can become something better if you just go through this the right way. It's far easier to make a lot of money doing this with your own skill set. And you can do it with a signal service. Like you could get really, really good, call the market, and never trade with a live account, ever. And as long as you're consistent, man, if you have a subscriber base of, I don't know, 5,000 people, 10,000 people, that's easy if you're good. Really easy to get those kind of numbers. Making $100 a month, $300 a month is too much in my opinion, but $100 a month, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. And you can consistently do that and never risk your own money. Don't even have to worry about doing FTMO. Think about that. But you're in here trying to play Johnny Common Ass. Come in here trying to, yeah, I'm going to get these videos, I'm going to sell them. That's stupid. You're selling yourself short. I'm honored and I'm flattered that you know that I'm that marketable. But you really aren't that smart if that's really what you're here for. Because you literally can write your own check if you learn how to do this well and you submit to the time. All the time, even if it takes you 4 years, 5 years, 6 years like it took me. Once you know what you're doing and you're consistent, man. Like if I needed to have money, I would literally go on YouTube and call the market for 30 days, or a month, and say, I'm doing this for free to prove to you I know what's going to likely happen before it happens. I'm not going to be right every single day, but I'm going to do this to prove it. And then after this, I'm going to open up a service where you can join and you pay me $185 a month. I don't even know why that number came out that way, but whatever number it would be. I am absolutely convinced that I would have 100,000 subscribers the first week. Yes, absolutely the first week, guaranteed. That's the way it would be. Because I have proven I know what I'm talking about. And they would sell everything they had in their home to be able to make that first payment, because in their mind, they're thinking, he's going to give me winning setups because my name carries that respect. And once you learn how to do this and you're able to go out there and prove yourself, like I taunt all these other frauds out there to try to do, and they can't even step one time in a manner where they can be audited. None of them can do that. But the way I'm teaching you here, you will gladly walk into that environment. Yes, absolutely I will go in an audited setting. Yes, I will absolutely go under the Robbins World Cup to be audited, because you know you don't need to do a 12,000 return. You don't need to do that. Nobody's ever done more than 200 and some % in Robbins, and that's easy to do that. Every single one of you have the ability to go out there and do that and say, look, I've even done it before ICT did it. And that would be awesome. That whole approach would set you apart and make you so marketable. You would never need to prove yourself beyond that. None of you really think about that, but I'm proposing it to you now. Why haven't any of you considered that? There's so many ways for you to be here and make millions and millions of dollars and never offend me or violate the terms of use. And in fact, I'd be impressed. I'd champion you for doing so well doing it the right way. But some of you in here just don't have the right mindset. You want to pay for something to sell something. that I will take that away, and I will enjoy taking it away at the sacrifice of my own pleasure doing what I'm doing now and others. That's what I'm willing to do. And I want you to understand that I've already proven I will do this in the past. I scrubbed the baby pips. There was no record of anything over there except for a couple text posts. And I will scorch the earth. Nobody will pay for my content. If in 2022 my stuff starts going all over the place, I will scorch the earth, and no person will ever need to pay for my content. And it won't hurt me. And it won't hurt the people that paid here either, because they will have learned, they will have experienced it firsthand. That's what you paid for. And they still will have access to me. So think about it. Those lessons, they're not the answer. Being under my wing until you figure it out for yourself, and the ongoing community, that is the mentorship. That's what you paid for. That community aspect is the lifetime membership. That's what you should have been staying here for. Not the lessons. The lessons are nothing. They're just me introducing a concept and demonstrating a toy of mine. But that small little cog in the wheel of the greater machine that is the algorithm, that takes time to understand. And it can't be learned in 1 year, despite other people out there pretending they said they figured it all out, or they understand Enigma. They don't even know what they're talking about. So, anyway, I'd like to be able to say I enjoyed talking to you about everything I spent time talking about in this video, because obviously I don't want to say the things and didn't feel good saying the things I said, but I mean everything I said tonight. I mean it. And I'm in a position of no loss. And the people that come in here that want to sell it, you're in a position of loss. So, I think I've said everything I wanted to say about euro pound. Spent a lot of time on this video frame here. And as I'm looking at this, it's just one of those, I guess, points of understanding and price that I didn't need to know this right away, but knowing that I know how to find them now, I wish I could go back in time and tell myself, this is the right way to learn, the way I teach you in this mentorship. This is the right way to learn how to do this. Because you have to see things that are going to be hard to make profitable in the marketplace, which is the high resistance liquidity run. The advantages of learning that and the distinctions and characteristics that make a low resistance liquidity run, that is the power and benefit of learning what it is I teach. And I wish all of you could just grasp that, because this element of analysis and focusing on just those opportunities and letting everything else go by and not have any impulse or emotional, psychological, impact on you as a person or trader because you didn't engage in that move. Only looking for these types of setups. That is maturity. That is a informed trader. That's someone that is refined. That's someone that knows exactly what they're looking for. And everything else is just chaff. Just stuff that just is a distraction. It muddies the water, if you will. Someone that knows what they're looking for and the signatures and characteristics that make that setup probable in the highest form of probability, not just, it could happen. The highest form of profitability is knowing how to find these setups and in the environment that is supportive and it's conducive for these to form. that takes time for you to figure that out using the things that I teach. And it takes time because you need to see when it's periods like we have right now where it's hard. It's really, really hard. These are the hardest months of my entire trading career. I've said this one other time, and it was during the 2020 pandemic, because I had to weigh out this elevated level of risk that I've never had to concern myself with, and questioned whether or not what I know about the markets is still going to hold up, and it did. And even in these environments where the market's being completely strangled for long periods of time, it still works. Now, the opportunities are far less frequent. And this is a learning opportunity not only for you, but I'm learning as well in this environment because we've never been here before. No trader has ever been right where we all are collectively. As a moment in time, none of us have ever been in this environment. No books could have prepared you for the psychological impact of trading in this type of environment. Not Mr. Mark Douglas. Not anything written by Larry Williams or his son. Think about that. Nothing Paul Tudor Jones would have ever said. None of the market wizards in any volume that Jack Swagger wrote. None of these individuals, or anything they could have said or have said in writing or in audio, would have ever been able to prepare you for what all of us as speculators in training or in reality are forced to contend with at the present time as what we have in 2020, 2021. Think about that for a moment. Because I did last week when I had a lot of time to sit and reflect on things. And it's astonishing to be where we are right now. And when there's people out there losing their jobs, people are losing their homes or on the verge of losing their homes, their medical benefits are expiring because they don't have the job anymore. That's it for them. Where do they go? And here you are, and here I am, and we are so blessed, and highly favored to be able to have a resource like knowing how to invest and learning how to do that in a sober, responsible manner. Not gambling, not throwing the dice every time we got opportunity to sit in front of a chart, but learning a skill set and managing risk appropriately, impeccably. What a blessing. What an honor and privilege it is to have this resource, this outlet, this opportunity to be able to do this. Like, I'm thankful. Like, it really hit me last week that I am so blessed that even if I lost everything out there, in all the money I've made in all my other businesses, my real estate, my online teaching, even if YouTube kicked me off and I wasn't making the $5,000 to $6,000 a month I'm doing there, because it ain't that much money, and I had to start all over, I literally would do what I'm encouraging you to do, is learn this all over as best as you can. And even if you had no money, there's ways for you to get money. Go through a funded account, FTMO. There's other ones out there. I don't know the names off the top of my head. But I have students even outside this mentorship that are funded, and they're doing really well. I'm surprised. They learned it through leaked content, but they're doing it, and they didn't use any of their money except for I guess whatever that fee is they charge for you to register and prove that you can trade to get funded. But to get 60% of whatever it is you earn, wow, It doesn't take long if you know how to do this to parlay the account up, and then you don't need to do anything with them anymore. You have your nest egg, $100,000, $250,000. Boom, you're done. Make 10% a month on $250,000. That's a good living. I could live on $25,000 a month. I'm sure you could. But how many people do you know that you could literally go out and shake hands with and touch? How many people do you know that have the ability to go out there and make that kind of money? Chances are you probably don't have that many people. And that's not me being arrogant or thinking too high of myself or anybody that I know. Because to be honest with you, I don't have a lot of friends that make the kind of money I make. I've had a lot of friends that don't want to do anything. They're just lazy people. And that's why my circle of influence is really, really small. Because you are going to be influenced by the people you hang out with. And introversion has been my mode of life because of that. But how blessed, how incredibly blessed are we to be able to have this information, to be in the safety of our own home, to be digital nomads, wherever we are, as long as we have an internet connection and access to our account, we can carve out an income. How incredibly blessed is that? Whether you believe in God or not, I'm not trying to preach here, but I know that's where it comes from, and that's my belief. But you may not look at it like that. But you have to admit, it's amazing to be able to know that this is available to you, and you don't need a time clock to ensure that you'll be eating a week from now, or 2 weeks if you get paid every 2 weeks, if anybody has that kind of pay scale anymore. It's remarkable when you think about it, isn't it? Now, you may not be at the point where you can do that yet, but you're getting there. And once you're there, no one can take it from you. No one can steal it from you. No one can strip it from you. That's a skill set. And there's a lot of people out there that will pay lots of money for that. That's where your mind should be. It shouldn't be in fearing all this stuff that's going on. You should be pouring yourself into your family, in your relationships, and in my opinion, I think spirituality, being God. But I'm not here to preach God to you. That's my personal conviction. But apart from that, in those relationships, you should be pouring your energy and your time into your learning and improvement here. You shouldn't be worrying about what's going on in the world. You shouldn't be worrying about, what happens if this and what's happening that. That isn't going to be changed by any worrying on your part. Every ounce of your energy should be poured into this, learning this skill, because this skill can feed you. It can feed your family. It can feed your friends in need. This can take care of things when your job can't. When businesses start shutting down, and they will, what happens if it's your job that's affected by it? And while there is a plethora of jobs openings right now available in the U.S., lots of people want to hire people and they don't want to work. They've poisoned the mindset of the working class. They don't want to work, but they don't have a skill set to sit home and make money. You're here under my wing learning how to do that. And you're learning how it's really done. You're learning the real inside secrets of how these markets book. And no one can teach it to you anywhere else. Think about all the things that led to being where you are right now. All the things, all the circumstances, all the putting off the decision, or maybe you didn't put off the decision. First opportunity you had to come here, you're here. Maybe you're a new student that just discovered me recently and you weren't with me back in 2010 and 2009, baby pips. I have members in here that were with me on America Online back in 1997, 6, 95. Not one of them have ever said they regret the decision they made to delve into this. Not one. And I think about the same thing. All the circumstances that led to me where it is I am right now, how it put me here. It's incredible. And I look at this as an incredible honor. It's extremely humbling to know that where I came from, low income, and I'm talking the lowest of incomes. I didn't come from wealth. I didn't come from any of those types of things. I wasn't affluent as a child. And to know that I am being used to impact so many people on this planet in different countries, different walks of life. And I'm helping to nurture and water and plant deeper roots for every one of your family trees is it's overwhelming. Like, it's incredible to know that I'm used to that degree. And it's something I absolutely love. Like, I love that. I'm blessed because of that. I'm encouraged as a human being and just appreciate the opportunity to be used like this and to be respected and appreciated for the time and energy I put into it. Because I don't think anyone else, just the casual approach to wanting to teach somebody, would pour as much into it as I think I have. And I'm not trying to say, it makes me better than anybody else. I'm just saying I love doing this. I'm passionate about it because I've lived it. I'm not someone out here pretending to know something. I know it. And I wish more people would know it. I wish more people would have the benefit of knowing that they can do what we're doing. But I also am a realist. And most people don't have the time, energy, or commitment and required discipline to submit to what's required to do it. And a lot of my students don't have it. They think they do because they make their payment, but they really don't have it in them to do what's required. And that's what separates the people that are successful here and those that just say, I tried it, this wasn't working for me. And there's nothing wrong with that. If you know that's your limitation, you can't get beyond it, hey, you know you better than anybody else does. But I'm convinced if anyone starts this and sticks with it, they'll get it. The problem is they always try to demand more or demand it quicker than it's going to come. And I can't make it come faster for any of you. I can't make you have all the pieces fall in place for you any faster than what it's going to be for you on a unique individual basis. And that's sincerity when I say that. It's not any way of taking that and twisting it up for an out or an excuse. Because the same thing that repeats as a common denominator for the people that learn under me that do well, they wanted to quit a lot, but didn't. They felt like they were never going to get it, but they stayed at it. And they did the things I said to do and did their best in not doing the things I said not to do. And they sometimes didn't listen in that regard, and they found the pain that comes with that. And they learned that, if I just would have listened to Michael, I would have never had to endure that. And it would have been probably a faster learning curve. But the speed aspect of it, that's what you need to wrestle with, because take that out of the argument. The equation doesn't require the element of speed. It's the consistency of doing these things I teach, and it will happen for you when it's the right time. When you've learned it, that's the right time for you. It's always going to be at the right time. It doesn't feel like it's coming fast enough for any of you. I know, believe me. But nobody, and myself included, will never be able to speed it up for you. Only the process and submission to that process will get you there. And every single person is going to be different in how fast it gets them there. But every day is a new growth and a new plateau that you're striving to move higher from. As long as you consistently work towards that goal of growing each day, you will get it. And something that needs to happen for your understanding to click and it falls into place for you, then you know exactly what you're looking for. Once that happens, and it doesn't always require you to get to charter level. I have members that before they got to charter, they figured out their own model and they're consistent. That's all you need. That's all you need. That one thing that makes the setup that you're looking for, the framework for that setup, when it should form, what makes it highly probable, and what things lead to it to be less probable. Once you define those things, you are refined as a trader. Then the next stage is sticking with it to gain the experience with that model. As long as your risk management is impeccable, consistency and longevity and profitability are the defaults. They will be the final result of that. Books won't get you there. Mentors and teachers outside of here will not get you there. Okay, someone else that has the interpretation of what it is I teach, they're not going to get you there. I know it sounds arrogant, but that's the truth, because they have no idea what they're saying when they parrot me. They don't know the next stage of developing around that concept that fills in these voids. Submission to the process gets you there. So I've done a lot of talking, and I promise we're done. I'm done for tonight. So I'm not sure what we'll see in regards to volatility tomorrow. It probably might be a quiet day as we go into Friday. I'm not sure how long this video is. It's very long, I'm sure, but I was going to try to catch the Biden jawboning session he was supposed to give tonight in regards to his administration's approach to combating the Delta Force. And I have to take a look at that when all these videos are rendered tonight. So I don't know what he said, if there was anything of any importance, or maybe there was, I don't know. So I'm interested in catching that and seeing what that was all about. But I will touch base with you tomorrow in our weekend commentary Friday night. I should have it up by 8 p.m. or so, if not sooner, but by 8 o'clock. So if you are the type that constantly keep checking the forum, it's probably safer if you just come to the forum tomorrow night at 8 o'clock, Eastern time. And that way you won't waste your time looking and see if there is something for the weekend commentary, because I have things I have to take care of tomorrow night and plans, so I definitely need to be out of the house by 8 o'clock. So that means it will absolutely be on the forum. Lord willing, I'm not going to have another fall or something worse than that. But 8 o'clock tomorrow, we should have our weekend commentary up by then. And until I talk to you then, be safe.